Hi, I'm Tom, and you're watching Better Than Beans on Toast with Fuse, and this is a spag bol recipe that's got a slight funky twist to it, and it's got like some more sweet ingredients, so it's not like your average spag bol that your mum would make at home. Another thing is it's cheap. It costs me between £10–15, and it cooks for like 6 people, so you can share it with everyone, and you can be like the king of your halls or whatever. So the first step is you want to get a tablespoon of olive oil in a saucepan, heat it up, and then just chuck your mince into the pan. And just let that sizzle for a while and keep mixing it, turning it over until there's pretty much almost no pink left in the mince. Alright, so the meat is browned and we're ready to add the tomatoes, just some parsley leaves and herbs, and the all-important garlic, which we chopped up finely. You want to use about 3 tomatoes, or maybe double if you're using cherry tomatoes. Just a little bit of herbs, doesn't really matter how much of that you put in. Same with parsley. But you want to use 4 cloves of garlic for 6 people and 2 for 3 people. Alright, let's add it. So you probably want to add about maybe a teaspoon of each, just enough to give it that little bit of seasoning to the meat. Right, the next thing you want to do is you want to set that aside for a while. We'll come back to that in a bit. So for the onions, you want to use 2 medium to large red onions. Slice them or dice them, doesn't really matter. And what you want to do is you want to heat a bit of oil in the pan once again, maybe a separate pan this time, and just drop them in and fry the onions until they're slightly browned, until they've softened. Now it's important when you're chopping the onions that when your flatmates walk in, you don't want them to think you're crying. So there's a few ways that you can prevent that from happening. One, you can just wear goggles. This is good if you're a chemistry student, such as myself, because you've got them. Right, so now it looks like the onions are softened. Next thing you want to do is you want to set the onions aside now. We're going to come back to them in a bit. Right, so the next step is to cook the mushrooms. Now this bit's important. This is where we venture away from the Italian roots of this recipe. Now, first of all, you want to have Worcestershire sauce to hand. I prefer Liam Perrins because it's the best. And soy sauce, dark sauce, light, doesn't make a difference, just soy sauce. You want 4 tablespoons of the soy sauce. Just slop that in there, like so. And then 2 tablespoons of the Liam Perrins Worcestershire sauce. That smells very good, if I may say so myself. Right, the next thing you want to do is you want to add the mushrooms in, and you want to stir them in so that they're covered in the soy sauce and the Worcestershire sauce. Cooking the mushrooms, you just want to keep stirring them and evenly cook them until they're like a kind of like a golden brown colour, and so that they're soft. So now, for some recipes, if you want to go all out, then you can make your own tomato sauce. But what I like to do, it's cheaper, it's more convenient, and it tastes just as nice. I like to use Heinz tomato soup because it's like 50p. So next you want to go back to your meat, and we're going to add the tomato sauce, add maybe some more parsley leaves and seasoning. You want to bring in the onions now as well, and the mushrooms that you just cooked. So basically this is like the climax where you mix everything in. There we go. Next you want to add the soy sauce and the mushrooms. Now probably my favourite thing about this recipe is the colour, because most spag bols come out a kind of a paley browny orangey colour. This one comes out a deep colour, a deep brown that looks intriguing and characteristic. That'll leave your friends wondering, what did he put in this? You can also add other vegetables as well. Don't hesitate to add things like carrot and pepper, I don't know. That's right, put the soup in like that. And just stir that in good before you place it back on the hob for about another maybe 10 minutes max. Right, so next you want to cook the spaghetti so that it finishes in time. Spaghetti normally takes about 7 to 8 minutes to cook. All you need is just a bit of salt, don't hold back. Boiled water, and about, they normally say 75 grams of spaghetti per person. I'm just going to use 500 grams for about 6 people. Now here's a little trick that I learned from no one. I invented it. Wow. And add your boiled water. Now, while you're waiting for the spaghetti, just check on your bolognese, give it a little stir, make sure that it's got that classic spaghetti sizzling sound. As your bolognese is cooking, what I like to do is I like to add a little bit of fresh parsley leaves. Feel free to save some of your parsley at the end as well if you want to add that on top. Now, as earlier I talked about that deep, rich brown colour, you can see that just there. Now I know that you can't smell it from behind your computer screen, but I can tell you this is godly. Right, let's serve it up. There you go, just lay that out on top, let it melt. Perfect. I think it's time to try some, don't you?
Tastes mint.
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 Mint. AKA 10 out of 10. Is that what mint means?
10.
You've been watching Better Than Beans on Toast with Fuse TV. My name's Tom Hales, and this is my special spaghetti bolognese recipe with a sweet twist. Thanks.